Alright, so here we are with the Xiaomi 13T Pro. This is the T variant. It is a very popular line from Xiaomi, and now they are bringing their Leica cameras to it. So you know this is going to have a lot of pictures and videos coming straight from the phone. Now, one thing I should say is that I arrived in Berlin for the launch event and basically hit the ground running, and I've had this phone for basically about 24 hours. So that sounds like the perfect condition for a day one video. Here we are in Berlin with the Xiaomi 13T Pro. About to be announced tomorrow, so I'm using an embargo device. But yeah, it's already a good time out here. Nice to be back in Berlin, and it's beautiful weather out here. And as always, I have to say the usual thing when it comes to a lot of these phones. No 4K on the front. As usual, when it comes to my day one videos, I'm going to just sort of talk about my experience with it over the first day of actually having the phone, show you a lot of camera samples, both photo and video, especially with this phone is going to be exciting to do that, and then chime in from time to time here with my thoughts about general usage. In any case, when it comes to the design, it is a premium feeling device, and part of the reason for that is because this backing right here is a vegan leather backing. The hero color is this blue, I think it's called the Alpine blue, and it's the only one that actually comes with this material. The other two, there's a green one and I believe a black one. Those are the ones that come with a different material, not this nice textured backing. The 13T Pro now has Leica just proudly put onto the camera package here on the back, and all three of the lenses and a lot of the processing was done in collaboration with them. So enjoy the pictures and videos that you're seeing in this video and let me know what you think of everything in the comments. As far as the general experience is concerned, this is all still quintessential Xiaomi. You have high performance with really good specifications all around. The screen is a 144 up to 144 Hertz refresh rate display. It is an AMOLED display and the resolution is actually a little bit over that full HD plus resolution we might see on plenty of other displays like this. And as far as the battery is concerned, there is a 5,000 milliamp hour battery in here, so there should be plenty for longevity. Even at the end of the just over 24 hours that I've had this device, I still have the phone at 30%, but also I've been very sporadic with my usage, so maybe don't take that to the bank as far as battery stats are concerned. But you are able to charge this phone up because, true to Xiaomi form, in the box comes a 120 watt fast charger, so it's going to be easy to top this thing up. And I do have to say, during this day one, I was already able to enjoy it quite a bit because as the phone comes out of the box, it does have Google Play services on here. You can see the Play Store right there. Yes, this is a global version of this phone. It will be available in more markets outside of China, including Europe, which is why we are here in Berlin right now. One thing I didn't do a whole lot here is gaming. My Google Fi SIM, I don't want to use up too much of that data just trying to download games on here, but I will try to put like Marvel Snap on here and a couple of other games, and I'm pretty sure they're going to run pretty well, even if this phone comes with a different chipset than the Pro and the Ultra. What we get here is the MediaTek 9200 Plus. It really wasn't hard to get like my various applications on here. I didn't get too many things on, but I did put Instagram on here, and a lot of the photos and videos that you might have seen on my Instagram were taken straight from the 13T Pro. Obviously, I wasn't really able to say that until after the actual launch event, which you'll actually see through the lens of this phone a little bit later. Tea's ready, so that means let's have a little bit of a tea break. The tea for today is the GABA Oolong from my friends over at Teaflow, who sent me this and a couple of other teas. You're going to be seeing them a little bit more here on the channel and on my social media, so make sure you check them out in the links below. For today's tea break though, I'm just going to keep things pretty simple and remind you to show up. More importantly, show up for yourself. That's going to mean something different to everybody. It could mean actually going to the gym to take care of yourself, or in the context of what I'm doing for this whole week of travel, it's making sure that I actually sit down, even if it's minutes before I have to leave, which it literally is right now, to make sure that I have my tea and to have these little breaks just to center myself for a little bit. Showing up for yourself could also be just remembering to take compliments or to take good tidings and good words from people and actually sitting with that emotion for a little bit rather than immediately brushing them off, dismissing them, or rather, a lot of people do this, they actually compliment the person back so that they can sort of deflect. Now, none of these things are necessarily bad, it's just that sometimes we need to remember that we have value as well. So when people tell us that, we should remember it. And that's what these tea breaks are even for, is a chance for all of us to show up for ourselves for a second, because I'm sure that you are probably on YouTube watching through so many videos in succession, whether they're tech videos or anything else, and there are some times that are needed in order for us to take a quick pause. And that's why I love having these tea breaks with all of you. I know that some of you in the comments have been looking for the tea breaks recently. Even I get caught up in everything that I have to do, which means that I am not able to actually show up for myself. But here I am doing my best to do so. But thanks so much for hanging with me during this tea break, because I hope you come for the tech and stay for the tea. All right, let's get back to it. Xiaomi did take us on a nice excursion on a boat tour that went straight through the river, straight through the middle of Berlin, and it was a perfect opportunity to shoot. It was also really chill, which is exactly what I needed after all the jet lag, because I've been traveling a lot lately. After all, everything that Xiaomi put their energy into is in these cameras in collaboration with Leica. So let's go ahead and talk about that next. I said it in my previous Xiaomi and Leica collaboration videos, glass matters, and that's the whole reason why Xiaomi partnered up with Leica to make sure that the optics on these cameras, or on their cameras, are as good as possible, while also using Leica's expertise in color grading and color processing and color science in order to provide really great results, especially in photos. And the spec sheet is no slouch either. The main camera is a 50 megapixel shooter. You get a telephoto on here, a 2x telephoto at 50 megapixels, which will mainly be used for really good portraits in the portrait mode, and then you get a 12 megapixel ultra wide. Let me tell you real quick that when I was seeing some renders of this phone leading up to the launch, I was a little bit worried because that ultra wide camera is this tiny little lens right here, and I was worried that we were going to get some sort of like macro or depth sensor or something like that, things that we don't particularly like in flagship smartphones, but a lot of companies tend to still put them on there. So it's really nice that that little lens right there is actually the ultra wide. And the first thing that I always look for when it comes to these phones is if all of the cameras can do 4K video recording. It's great to see that across all of the rear cameras, that is definitely the case. If you are at all familiar with Xiaomi's phones over the last year, then you know exactly what this Leica partnership is bringing to pictures and videos. A lot of detail and nice crisp photos coming from the optics just on the hardware level, and then the processing comes in, which of course means that you get Leica's color science added on top. Now that can come in a couple of different flavors. At first, you have Leica's authentic color mode and then Leica's vibrant color mode, and everything you've been seeing in this video is based on vibrant. However, if you want to go even further into this, you can go into the Pro mode here and turn on sliders for the tone, tonality, and texture. This feature is for photos, by the way. That's not going to be available for video, but that's okay. As far as photos are concerned, I'm looking forward to messing around with these sliders so that I can really find what my look is, rather than just defaulting to the punchier colors and the higher contrast. That being said, this is still one of my favorite Pro modes that are available, mainly because it gives me just enough control, especially for video recording, where I usually go into the EV settings and turn down the exposure setting to around -1, -0.7 usually. But of course, if you're messing around with some pretty drastic lighting conditions like I was at the actual launch event, well, I was actually shooting a lot of this at -3 EV. Other enhancements include better low light performance, especially when using the main sensor. You can go over to the night mode and actually turn on ultra low light or ultra night video. This is not stuff that I have really tested a whole lot in this day one, but I look forward to trying it out a little bit more. And the other thing that you can do is actually customize the watermark, the popular apparently watermark that you can attach to your photos. You can change what that watermark looks like when you're going into the edit page inside of the gallery. Overall, the camera's just doing a really great job, certainly the job that you would expect from a partnership between Xiaomi and Leica. You're not getting too many of the extra modes that you might get on the Pro and Ultra models, but you have everything that you need here for the essentials, and it's almost like having a really affordable Leica camera in your pocket. One thing I will say, and you probably have noticed it already, is that I did have to make sure I dialed down the exposure. This is why I talk about it so much. All of these phones are trying to bring in as much light as possible, which is a good thing given how small the sensors are. But for a lot of lighting situations, or a lot of even just regular situations, you tend to get a much better photo when you turn down the exposure a little bit. And that has resulted in some really awesome portraits and photos from here. One other thing you still get is the master lens system here on the portrait mode. So you get a few different focal lengths for different different looks, but each of the focal lengths also have their own different style. For me, the documentary one is still my favorite because 35mm around there is still my favorite focal length, but also of the various settings that you have in the master lens system, it doesn't make the background too creamy or too stylized like it does on the soft focus at 90mm. Overall, this new T variant is exactly what you would expect from Xiaomi, only now their Leica partnership is just adding whole new layers to it, making this a really viable camera that you can actually rely upon for capturing really nice looking memories. And true to form, the T variant actually comes in at a little bit less money compared to the Pro and Ultra models that came out earlier this year. This actually comes in at 799 euros, which is not a bad price considering the high level of performance and the high level cameras that you're getting on here. And clearly after day one, I'm a pretty big fan of what I'm seeing on here. There might not be anything that is particularly different on this phone, but it is exactly the package that you might need at a price that might make it easier for you to actually try it out. Let me know if you want to see more from the Xiaomi 13T Pro. Again, if you haven't seen my previous Xiaomi videos on the 13 Pro and the 13 Ultra, make sure you check it out in the links that are appearing above and are below in the description. I am a big fan of those phones, so it was pretty easy for me to become a fan of the 13T Pro. But let me know what you think in the comments downstairs. Would you pick up a T variant of the phone? I already see some of you commenting on my quick unboxing here on YouTube Shorts and over on Instagram that some of you actually have the T variants and like it a lot. So here we are with a Leica powered camera in the T variant, which is pretty exciting. But from there, I'm about to leave Berlin. I've only been here for just under 48 hours and I'm already going to be leaving. It has been a crazy travel time, so I just want to thank you for watching my videos and hanging out with me here on my channel as I try to get all of this work done. But with all of that said, I'm going to go ahead and call it on this one. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks again for hanging out with me today. Please take care of yourselves and each other and enjoy your tea, everybody.